The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, thank you for joining us for another great Wednesday webinar. We do know your time is valuable, and we do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to meet with us. Today's topic is the hot new critical illness product. We're going to talk about what critical illness is, what those best target markets are, and add some great sales ideas as well. As you folks know, with the new healthcare reform, there's definitely a huge increased opportunity to benefit both you and your clients with this great product. So we're going to show you how to do that today. Today's presentation will be given by our Business Development Manager, Mr. Ben Coleman. Ben's been with DIS for 5 years and has started as a member of the sales team, and due to continued company growth, moved into the position of Business Development Manager. So just a couple of quick things before we start. We can't hear you guys, so if you do have questions, please type them into the box on the right side of the screen, and time permitting, we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Well, without further ado, let's get started. I'd like to introduce our Business Development Manager, Mr. Ben Coleman. Ben, take it away.
Hi, Lee. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone, as Lee mentioned. Today's topic is critical illness and how to sell critical illness. If you've worked with our firm in the past, you all know we are a general agency primarily focusing on long-term individual disability. Well, several of those carriers that we work with offer this product, critical illness, and it is a good alternative for those who don't qualify for disability insurance, and or another good way to protect your client's assets and their income. So I want to jump right into it today. As Lee mentioned, if there are any questions, do not hesitate to type them in the box on the right-hand side of your screen. I will do my best to answer those, time permitting, at the end of the presentation. So here's the agenda. What is critical illness? What are the covered illnesses? Who's the target market? Who should you be looking for? What clients are going to fit into the mold of, you know what, they need to protect more of their assets, and we're going to provide this product to them. Who should you be going after? I'm going to talk about a case study, show you an example of where critical illness is a perfect fit, and finally, sprinkle in some sales ideas at the end of the presentation. What's a good approach when it comes to presenting critical illness protection to your clients? Okay, well, why critical illness? Here's one reason right off the bat, folks. It's going to help cover gaps in medical insurance. So anytime that your medical expenses, we all know how expensive medical bills are. Believe me, we've all either known somebody or from our own personal experience know how expensive that industry is and how expensive medical bills can be. With the critical illness policy, you're going to help cover those gaps in medical insurance. Again, this product is meant to protect your assets and the standard of living in which you, your clients, your prospects are currently, how they're currently living. We want to make sure they're adequately protected. So if we cannot do that with disability insurance, which hopefully we can, we want to provide an alternative, something that's affordable and it's going to accomplish the same goal. And again, that is protecting our assets, our ability to earn a living, our ability to earn an income. Critical illness, it's going to insure your uninsurable prospects. What do I mean by that? Well, there are several people out there that don't qualify for disability insurance. Is that a true statement? You better believe that's a true statement. Well, what are some of those reasons? Well, it could be their age. It could be their occupation. Some high-risk occupations, carriers won't look at them for DI. So we want to make sure that they have an alternative. What about your clients or prospects working part-time? What about your prospects that aren't working at all? Can we get them coverage? We can, and we're going to talk about that today. So insure your uninsurable prospects that don't qualify for disability insurance. What else does critical illness do? It eliminates the elimination period or the waiting period. Why is that? Because if you contract one of these critical illnesses, which I'll show you on the screen here shortly, it pays you a lump sum amount immediately The day that you are diagnosed with this illness, you're going to immediately get paid from the carrier. So you're automatically, there's no deductible, no waiting period, no elimination period. That's important. You're going to get immediate payment. And finally, for you as an agent, you can add this to your portfolio. If you're already out there selling life insurance, disability insurance, annuities, long-term care, whatever it may be, why not also present your client with the option of critical illness? So, and that's ultimately going to increase your agent commissions. So these are 5 good reasons why a critical illness product will work for your client and work for you. So what is it? What is critical illness? Well, a critical illness policy is protection when a major illness occurs. And as I said, I'm going to give you here a second, folks, a snapshot of all of the different covered illnesses that the carriers that we work with are going to cover. Critical illness is paid in a lump sum form, cash benefit to the policyholder. And the most important part of this is it can be used at the policyholder's discretion. They can take that lump sum and use that money to cover medical bills, continue to pay their mortgage, put food on the table, whatever it may be, they use at their discretion. So a critical illness policy covers you when one of these major illnesses occur. It's a lump sum payment, and it's used at the client's discretion. Some of the key selling features and benefits that you're going to find on a critical illness policy, as I mentioned, lump sum amount. Look where this ranges from $10,000 all the way up to $500,000 if somebody qualifies for that much money, or excuse me, for that much benefit. In order to qualify, it's sometimes, I should say, based on a client's earnings. And we see some of the carriers offer no more than 3 times the amount of what somebody is earning. So if you have somebody making $30,000 a year, we will see these carriers come back with a benefit between like $90,000 and $100,000 of a lump sum amount. You've got your higher income earners making $100,000 a year. Typically, we can see the carriers offer $300,000 or maybe $400,000 of a lump sum benefit. So there is some correlation between how much somebody earns and how much they qualify for. Now, this is important too because, as I mentioned earlier, we do have some individuals that work part-time or don't work at all, but we can still offer them a smaller amount of coverage, which some coverage is better than no coverage. Okay, so your lump sum amount ranges from $10,000 all the way up to $500,000. The policy is guaranteed renewable. The provisions of the contract are guaranteed to be renewed. As I mentioned before, the benefits are paid directly to the client. You can look at it this way. If you're forced to miss work because of one of these illnesses, no matter how long you're at, well, I guess that depends, but you're forced to miss work, you're obviously probably not going to getting your full paycheck. Maybe you do have some DI protection or some sick days built up or paid time off, whatever it may be. But now you can rest easier with the comfort of knowing that if you miss work due to an illness for an extended period of time, this lump sum benefit is another way of you looking like you're still being able to pay yourself if you were working. Well, something as most of you probably know, on disability, we have simplified underwriting. Well, it's also available for critical illness in their products. Simplified underwriting, folks, streamlines the process for you. It alleviates a lot of the requirements. In this particular case, income documentation, medical exams, interviews, APS reports, it's streamlined. So the only thing that your client or your prospect would need to complete is the application. Now, there are limitations when you're applying for simplified underwriting, whether it's disability or critical illness. It's in the amount of coverage that you're applying for. Now, the carriers that we represent, some of them will offer up to $100,000 of that lump sum benefit without full underwriting on the product. Everything is simplified, meaning strictly just the application needs to be completed. You do, however, need to answer all of the questions on the application honestly and appropriately, because the carrier does reserve the right at the point during underwriting, if a red flag pops up, to ask for APS or income documents, whatever they see or seem to be fit to complete that underwriting process. But keep in mind, simplified underwriting, again, available on critical illness products. It does vary from carrier to carrier how much, depending on how much you apply for. Okay, here's the most important slide that I want to show you today. Now, you can jot some of these down if you'd like, but I will also point out to you at the end of this presentation, we will be emailing you an article that mirrors what we've talked about or what I'm talking about today. That will list and it will show you all of the covered illnesses under a critical illness policy. Now, just look at this. I'm sure that most of us in our lifetimes have known somebody that has suffered from one of these illnesses. Heart attack, stroke, Alzheimer's, cancer, kidney failure, burn victims, paralysis, coma. There's about 21 on this list here. So as I mentioned, jot some of these down if you'd like, but keep your eyes peeled for after this presentation, because you will have this and you'll be able to take these covered illnesses, and when you're out the next meeting with your client, the next lunch meeting you have, or coffee that you have, whatever it may be, and you're talking about protecting their assets, I want you to pull something like this out and say, did you know a critical illness policy is a lump sum payment that's going to pay you the day you're diagnosed if any one of these things were to happen to you? Now, again, this is something that you can coordinate with a DI policy, or if somebody doesn't qualify for a DI policy, it's another great way to help protect their assets if they're going to miss work. And sometimes, you know what, sometimes people don't miss work. A lot of people, just because they're diagnosed with cancer, are still able to go to work. Maybe not as often, maybe not as much, but this lump sum payment will still allow you to cover, as I mentioned, medical expenses, whatever it may be. So it's not just about protecting the paycheck. It's also about making sure that your clients don't have to liquidate assets or dip into savings or find other resources to help cover any additional expenses that are inhibited by somebody being diagnosed with one of these illnesses or having, a heart attack or stroke, whatever it may be. So this is my, very important. I leave this slide up here for about a minute just because I want everyone to take a look at it and to show you how great a critical illness policy is, because it does cover so many different things. Okay, but let's move along. This is important, and it's important because, some of you may be in one of these 5 states today. Currently, critical illness is not approved in all the states. And as you can see here, unfortunately, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, really up in the northern New England, northern East Coast area, for some reason those state insurance boards have not yet approved the critical illness product. I believe they have filed, and hopefully that will be changing soon. Now, I mentioned the carriers that we represent that offer critical illness are Assurity, Mutual of Omaha, and American General. These are also carriers that we represent for disability insurance, but are the only 3 that we work with when it comes to providing the critical illness product. So anytime you're interested in seeing if your client qualifies for critical illness, do not hesitate. Let us know. We will get you those quotes out just like we do your disability illustrations. within 24 hours, and we show you a comparison between these companies. So we're not just going to show you a surety, we're also going to show you the other two carriers, because each carrier is a little bit different in their niches. Some are better for certain occupations, some are better for different ages. They're all very competitive, and they're all great companies. That's why we work with them. But we're more than happy. We want to show you the options for your client and provide them with their best options. So after you review the different offers, the quotes for critical illness, you and your client decide on what's best for them, price, definitions, whatever it may be, then we do help you with the next step after that as well, and that's the underwriting. So we're just like everything we do for you on the disability side, we provide you with that same service and same expertise on critical illness. So again, this slide's important just to show you carriers that offer it, and unfortunately where it is not yet approved. Let's talk about the target market. Who is critical illness going to be a good fit for? It can, in my honest opinion, it should be a good fit for everyone. And the reason I say it is just because we're in the position, we are in the industry of helping to protect our clients' assets in any way, any shape that we can. Well, how about people that have group health care plans with high deductibles, which is a lot of us. And a lot of us, we are can be blessed and lucky that we have an employer that offers us health insurance. Well, as most of you know, deductibles are continuing to go up and increase, and they are going to continue to increase with the sweep in healthcare reform that we're experiencing right now. That being said, the deductibles are going to be higher. What's a good way to help alleviate some of this pain? A critical illness policy. So ask your clients that. Find out, what is their deductible on their health care plan? What's a way we can help circumvent that? Bring down the cost. Bring down the cost of medical expenses. Critical illness is a great way to do it. How about your clients that have a long-term disability plan or that are participating in an employer-paid disability plan? Most of you know those are long elimination periods, long waiting periods before they even receive a paycheck, a benefit if they become disabled. Remember, this is something that a lot of agents don't know. When you sell a DI policy, and typically we do a 90-day elimination period, if the client becomes disabled and they go out on claim, they are not going to get that first check on day 91. There's actually, day 91 is when the benefits start to accrue. So your full monthly benefit is not going to be attained or received until day 120. A lot of agents don't necessarily know that, but that's important to tell their clients on the DI side, on the disability side. Just because you have a 90-day elimination period doesn't mean after 3 months you're getting your full monthly benefit. You got to wait 120 days before that benefit accrues. That's important to know. Well, again, this goes back to my point. That's 4 months of wait time. Can your clients go 4 months without a paycheck, without any type of income? Especially if your medical bills are going to start increasing. Well, there's another good reason that just because you have a group DI plan and group health care, that a critical illness policy wouldn't be helpful for that short amount of time. And I'm not saying you have to go out and purchase the $100,000 lump sum. That's why maybe shoot for a $10,000 policy or a $25,000 policy. And I'm going to show you how affordable this is too, which is great. The cost of critical illness is very, very affordable. Your other target markets, high net worth. These are the people that you're not going to see qualify for disability insurance as often. High net worth, why is that? Because they can insure themselves if they become disabled. Well, at the same time, we still want to be able to provide them additional protection of their assets. So just because you have a high net worth, at least they can qualify for critical illness, and if they get diagnosed with any of those illnesses, it's going to pay them a lump sum benefit amount. Active military. they do not qualify for disability insurance. They do qualify for a critical illness policy. A lot of federal employees do not qualify, in particularly law enforcement. You know, some police officers, some carriers will offer to a police officer, but depending on how long you've been on the force, if you're carrying a firearm, not all federal employees qualify for DI, but they will qualify for CI. Self-employed individuals. Oftentimes, this is somebody that's brand new, starting their business. Maybe some DI will not offer them any protection. Guess what? Critical illness will. Non-working spouses. Here's a great target market. You have a lot of folks out there that are still, there's one breadwinner in the household, and they're out there and they're making all the money and coming home. Well, what about that stay-at-home spouse? They're still working. They might be raising the kids. You know, that's still a full-time job if you ask a lot of people. Well, what if something were to happen to them? What if they get diagnosed with one of these illnesses? I'm here to tell you, this is great. Those three carriers that I talked to you about, Assurity, Mutual Omaha, and American General, will offer coverage to a non-working spouse to help incur some of those costs. Heaven forbid they're diagnosed with one of those illnesses. So that's key right there. Anytime, obviously, we all know that on the disability side, we're protecting a paycheck, which means somebody's working. And usually they have to be working full-time, more than 30 hours a week. That's how we protect their paycheck. There are a lot of people out there that are currently not working, and a non-working spouse is a great target market if you haven't thought of that before. Maybe you have a lot of clients that are married that only one of them works. Obviously, you can't get any DI coverage for the non-working person, and they're the non-working spouse. Why not offer them critical illness? People near retirement age. Unlike disability, where majority of the carriers are cutting off around age 60, you may have folks working till later 60s, mid to late 60s. We can still offer them a critical illness policy. Close to, I think the cutoff is age 65. It varies from carrier to carrier. I'll double check for you. And finally, your high-risk occupations, where you may have a longshoreman or an oil driller, whoever it may be, where the DI carriers say, no way, too risky for us. What do? Let's get them a critical illness policy. Here is a quick case study. This happens to be one of our brokers came to us. His client's name was Bill. Bill was a 35-year-old police officer, married, 2 kids, understood the importance of wanting to protect his family from a financial hardship. If he became disabled or sick or injured and couldn't work, how is he going to do that? Well, the agent came to us, and the agent was looking for disability insurance. Unfortunately, due to his situation, and if I can remember correctly, he was on the force for more than 10 years, which limits government employees, and he's carrying a firearm. So our traditional carrier said, nope, sorry, for whatever reasons, due to the fact of the risk, he's working in a big city here in San Diego, carrying a firearm, and been a police officer for more than 10 years, DI carriers didn't want to touch it. Well, what's our solution? Problem was we couldn't get him any DI. Solution is the critical illness. A critical illness policy, we were able to write him a lump sum payment of $100,000. Now look at this. This is why I told you how affordable this is and how great critical illness is. The daily cost for this policy, and it's actually illustrated on your summary request form, which is great, was only $2.07. So for $2 a day, just over $2 a day, if he were to be diagnosed with any one of these illnesses you see the covered conditions again that I had up on that slide earlier, he's going to receive that lump sum benefit amount that he can use at his discretion, that $100,000, if something were to happen to him, to help protect, so he does not have to liquidate any assets, sell his home, whatever it is, to protect his family and his standard of living. This benefit, you can hold on to this policy. Bill, in this case, he was 35 years old, so he can keep this all the way until retirement age, until age 67. He can continue to renew this policy on a year-to-year basis. As I said, it's a guaranteed renewable policy. And let's see, again, like I said, the benefits, if you do get diagnosed, you get that lump sum, you use them as needed. The mortgage, the groceries, living expenses, medical expenses, whatever it may be. So that's our case study. So how big is the critical illness opportunity? Well, if you're not familiar with this product, which I think is still relatively new, and it's really getting a lot of buzz right now over the past year, I'd say, is critical illness. You go to these conventions or you hear other agents talking about what's new, what's going on in the insurance world. We all know about healthcare reform, disability starting becoming more of a hot topic product, but so is critical illness. And it's been a big selling product over in Europe. And I think it's becoming even stronger in Canada. And now here in the United States, it's another great way to help protect your client's assets. It's affordable, and it's very important to do so. Especially, I mean, I think it's great to partner a critical illness policy with a disability insurance policy if they qualify for both. You get a lump sum payment right up front. Remember, you don't have to wait any elimination period. So if you had a CI policy for $25,000, the day you're diagnosed, let's say, heaven forbid, with cancer, that starts your DI claim that you got to wait 90 days on. But if you have a critical illness policy, that $25,000 is directly into your pocket. And then after 3 months, you're on claim for disability if you're not working. So if you can partner these two products, it's a good cross-selling approach. So it's not just one or the other. And I hope I'm not coming across or informing you like, if you don't qualify for this, you should get that. If you can do both, by all means. We want to protect our clients any way that we can with the best products that are out there and available. So offer critical illness to new and existing clients. This is a good reason for you to data mine your clients, to go back and do your annual visit when you revisit with your client, and bring up the CI opportunity. Let them know, hey, check out this product that's out there currently. Did you know if you were to diagnose with any one of these 21 conditions or illnesses, you're going to get an automatic lump sum? It's really getting a lot of buzz. And because it's not a real popular product here, the market is not saturated with competition. And you've got access to 3 of the best carriers in the marketplace. By working with our company, with DIS, we're going to quote the top 3 companies. And you're going to take that to your client and let him know that you did your homework and you shopped the marketplace based on what is available for critical illness. Okay, before I wrap things up, let's talk about some sales ideas. As I mentioned earlier, we all know that this new healthcare reform that is set to be already been passed, I guess, but implemented over the next few years, barring any reform of the bill itself, this is going to change a lot of things. And I want this, how can that healthcare reform ignite critical illness sales? Well, as I pointed out earlier, the rising costs of healthcare are going to force many consumers to adjust their current coverage, meaning they're going to go for lower premiums and higher deductibles. So right there, again, there's another reason why a nice lump sum critical illness policy would be helpful for somebody that needs to keep their cost of their health care down, the premiums down, but in exchange for that, their deductible is going through the roof. And that's what most Americans are going to opt for. They're going to opt for that higher deductible in order to maintain those low premiums. So this product, critical illness, here's your sales idea. Bridge the gap of the higher deductible in your unforeseen medical expenses. So really do think about that. So next time you're talking about health care with your clients and your prospects, and you know what their deductibles are in order to keep their own premiums down, offer this. Offer critical illness. Just a good sales idea. Number 2, rule of thumb. Now, this is just an average, folks. But for $25 a month, you can receive a $25,000 lump sum payment. Now, again, as I mentioned, let me point this out. This is an average. It's going to depend on the client's age, but as long as they're not too old, meaning in your 50s and higher, we can typically get $25,000 lump sum payment, and the client's only paying a $25 monthly premium. It's a good rule of thumb to use. Now, just use it as a ballpark figure. Ask your client, say, hey, if I told you you only had to pay $25 a month, and if you were diagnosed or contracted one of these illnesses, you're going to get $25 grand that day. Is that worth it to you? Find out. See what they say. But use that, 25 for 25. And then finally, this is what we do all the time on the disability side, is emphasize the need. Sell the need with statistics. So when you're doing it, when you're selling paycheck protection or disability insurance, I want you to do the same thing here with a critical illness. Now look at these 5 stats. Let's go through them real quick. Increasing medical bills are the main cause for more than 60% of personal bankruptcies. Increasing medical bills. Every 26 seconds, someone suffers a coronary event. Every 40 seconds, someone suffers a stroke. Last year, it's estimated that about 1.2 million Americans will have their first or second heart attack. Of those, approximately 62% of us are going to survive. We've seen healthcare, advances in healthcare and medicine and technology revolutionize life expectancy here in this country. So we want to make sure if we do survive one of these events, a heart attack, we're going to be able to make sure we cover all those expenses and not have to rely on other sources. So keep that in mind. And then the 5-year survival rate for all cancers combined in the U.S. is just 66%. So again, hopefully, cures are going to be found for cancer and whatnot. But as long as people are surviving cancer and being a cancer survivor, we want to make sure that they're able to do so and be able to pay for that and not have that be an additional burden. Well, we know stats are important. We want to emphasize the need. We want to show that the risk is real. And that being said, as I mentioned earlier, you are going to receive this free report in about an hour. If for some reason you don't see it in your email, call me, call any of us here at DIS. I want to make sure you get these statistics. I want to make sure you see those covered illnesses, because it's very important, I think, that when you go out there and you're talking to your clients about protecting their assets, you've got the facts with you and you feel comfortable presenting this product. Because again, this is a fairly new product. A lot of agents aren't out there selling it actively. And even DI, even disability insurance, has that been gaining momentum, and more people, I think, are aware of disability insurance. It's still not. We want to get the word out there that we want to protect your clients' assets and their paychecks, and we want to do it the most efficient and the best way. So we talked about what critical illness is. It's protecting our clients from those major illnesses when they're diagnosed. We listed all those, the cancer, the heart attacks, the stroke, paralysis. The list goes on and on. There's about 21. Talked about the different target markets we want to focus on, the clients that don't qualify for disability insurance. But not only that, part-time workers, non-working spouses, our clients that have group health insurance with high deductibles, or group disability insurance with long waiting periods. This is a gap filler, and it wipes out the elimination period. That's what critical illness does. And hopefully those sales ideas will help, especially with the healthcare reform that's going on in this country, the 25 for 25, and finally, just emphasizing the need. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you listening to this presentation today. Hopefully you found something, all of it, to be informative. but maybe there was something you didn't quite know about critical insurance or critical illness, some of the covered expenses, how it's paid out. Maybe it's a good sales idea. So hopefully you found some value in it today. I really do enjoy doing these presentations. We do them every Wednesday, as Lee pointed out earlier. On the screen, you can see our website. If you have not been to it, I highly encourage you to do so. It's very user-friendly, meant for you, the broker only. You can submit quotes online. You can submit critical illness quotes online. You just select critical illness as the product, along with all the other services that we offer. Again, back to the disability. We do all the disability with our carriers, so if you need DI quotes, that's fine. We have the articles. We have recorded webinars. We have a DI Roadshow that we do, so check out that link, and it'll let you know if we're coming to a city near you where we can get to know you on a more on a face-to-face level, but also answer your questions in person. So give us a call, as always. The 800 number is at the bottom. I am going to see if there are any questions right now, and while I'm doing that, Lee, is there anything you would like to add or touch on?
Hey, Ben, great job. Folks, thank you so much again for joining us. As always, we just want to emphasize we know your time is valuable, and we do appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. We do our absolute best to make sure the information we share is relevant and that really is practical ways to help you help your clients and also build that DI block of business. So we really do work hard on doing that. If you have any feedback or any suggestions on how we can do a better job or help you guys, please feel free to call us or email us, because that's what we want to do ultimately, folks, is we want to help you sell more DI and help your clients. Please also remember you will receive a copy of the critical illness report in your inbox in about an hour. So that will be sent out via email, and just keep your eyes peeled. Like I said, in your inbox, you should get that in about an hour. It's kind of a summary of what Ben talked about, all the key points and features, et cetera, and some sales ideas in those target markets. As always, our sales team is standing by. If you have any quote requests or risk inquiries, we do guarantee a 24-hour turnaround time. We have a fully staffed sales team with a wealth of experience and knowledge to help you guys with any questions or prospects that you might have. So please don't hesitate to call us for any questions related to that, as well as a fully staffed underwriting department that will help you guys through the application process. We'll walk you through that and make sure that those cases get written and closed. Next Wednesday is our business overhead expense webinar, which is another great hot topic. A lot of those business owners are recognizing the need to protect their assets with the economy, and I believe the percentage is less than 10% of business owners actually have income protection. So that's another unsaturated market, and next week we're going to show you basically what that product is, the key features, and how to sell that as well. So please join us next Wednesday for that. Other than that, Ben, is there anything else you wanted to add before we signed off?
Yeah, I'm going to answer a couple questions here, and then if I don't get to your question, please give us a call, either myself or someone in the sales team. We can help you out. But Robert asked a good question. He likes the platform that we offer for our disability and critical illness. Is there any plans that do the same for long-term care? Good question, Robert. The only carrier left that we work with that we actually offer a long-term care policy with is Mutual of Omaha. Both the Surety and MetLife just pulled their products very recently, I think at the end of 2010, actually. So if you're interested, if any of you are also quoting long-term care, Mutual of Omaha is a carrier that we work with that we can still do that. John, hopefully I answered the question regarding simplified underwriting earlier. Yes, it's available, and the amount cap based on the carrier is up to $100,000. And I believe that is with, I'll have to double check, but I think it's American General. That'll go up to $101,000. I don't know quite off the top of my head, but I know it's $100,000. Let's see. Richard's asking a question, if someone has a problem with their heart, will they put a waiver on that and still sell the policy? Again, that's going to be at the underwriter's discretion. Just like disability insurance, they are still concerned with health issues. So somebody that you maybe see declined for health reasons on a disability side are the same reasons you're going to see them be declined for critical illness. So critical illness is not necessarily or ever an alternative to your impaired risk cases. If there are health issues, depending on what they are, let us do the research. Let us do the pre-screens to see if there are going to be any riders or exclusions or ratings, and we will get that back to you, just like we do on the disability side. Steve's asking, is critical illness in New York? Yes, I believe so, and I think that is with, again, American General has their product approved there. I can get you some more information on that, Steve. Don, good question, and I'll have to do some research on this myself. Don's asking, can we use this product with foreign nationals? Now, I believe it's just like what they do, the carriers do on the disability side, is that the client would need a working visa or a green card in order to qualify for disability insurance. Don, we can talk a little bit further about that, and I can do some research on this for you. David, will family history play a part in acceptance? No, but the client's own personal health will. As I mentioned, it's just like disability. If they currently have any health issues, that could be a red flag, and that may not qualify them for critical illness coverage. Mark, good question. If someone is on disability, is that an underwriting issue? Yes. Yes and no, depending on what they're on disability for. Let's see. Again, Mark Rosenberg's asked, you said it is guaranteed renewable, or premiums guaranteed. Good question. The answer to that question is no. If you're familiar with disability insurance, they have non-cancelable and guaranteed renewable policies. If you have a non-can guaranteed renewable policy, your premiums are locked in. So they're not going to go up at all. A guaranteed renewable provision or policy is still, in my opinion, a very strong contract. However, there is verbiage in that contract that states if they go on claim, that the carrier reserves the right to increase premiums in the future. Now, two things have to happen with that. They cannot just raise the rates on your specific client, on your particular client. They would have to raise the rates for everybody on that product that was approved, a policyholder with that product. Secondly, just like any other type of insurance, it's got to go through the state insurance board. State insurance boards do not like it when carriers raise rates on existing policyholders. So we typically don't see rates increase on our products or these products. Same with disability. We see them come out with a new product. That's going to happen more often than rates being raised. All right, let me see if I can get to one more before I sign off here. Okay. Mark Rogers is asking another good question. Since this type of product is new, are you seeing more than 3 carriers here in the U.S.? Mark, I believe so. I don't know off the top of my head what other carriers are offering critical illness. I know there are some players in the marketplace. The reason we offer this product is, as I mentioned earlier, we are primarily an individual DI shop. But these great carriers that we work with also promote and sell critical illness. That is part of the reason we want to make sure we promote their portfolio and get the word out. Again, because this can be an alternative to disability insurance when certain people don't qualify. So we're more than happy to become experts on critical illness and disability insurance services. Okay, well, if I didn't get to your questions, I apologize. Do not hesitate to give us a call. Call us today for a quote if you're interested to see what rates are looking like. It has been my pleasure, again, to do this presentation. I appreciate everyone across the country from joining us. On behalf of Lee, my name is Ben. I'm going to be signing off, and I look forward to speaking with you all next Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week.